There comes a time when you have to stop waiting for closure. Stop waiting for the apology. Stop waiting for the explanation. Stop waiting to feel different, because if you keep waiting, you'll stay stuck. Some of us have been carrying things we should have let go of a long time ago, carrying heartbreak like it's a badge of honor, carrying disappointment like it's a security blanket. But I need you to hear me today. You cannot step into what's next while holding on to what's over. I know it's hard. I know you loved them. I know you thought it was going to work out. I know the betrayal cut deep. I know life didn't go the way you planned, but listen, you are not the things that happened to you. You are not the rejection. You are not the mistake. You are not the heartbreak. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but the pain you keep reliving in your mind, it's not happening anymore, except in your thoughts. That thing that broke you is in your past, but somehow you keep dragging it into your present. And if you keep carrying it, you'll miss everything good that's waiting for you. So today, I dare you, I challenge you to let go. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because your future depends on it. Let go of the bitterness that's been stealing your peace. Let go of the memories that keep playing in your mind like a movie you don't want to watch. Let go of the guilt that keeps whispering you're not worthy of something better, because you are. You were not created to live in the ruins of what was. You were not designed to be shackled to yesterday. God has more for you, but he won't force it into hands that are still gripping the past. So today is your moment to choose freedom over fear, healing over history, the future over the familiar. You won't always feel ready, but you don't have to feel ready to start walking in the direction of your healing. And as you walk, as you release, as you trust, you'll realize you're lighter. You're freer. And for the first time in a long time, you're truly living. Letting go is not about waiting for the perfect moment when the pain fades, the memories stop haunting you, or the closure magically arrives. Letting go is a decision, one you have to make, even when your heart isn't ready, even when your emotions are screaming for you to hold on just a little longer. Because if you keep waiting for the feeling to be right, you'll stay stuck in a cycle that was never meant to be your home. Too often, we let our emotions dictate our actions. We say things like, I'll move on when I stop hurting, or I'll let go when I understand why it happened. But what if that day never comes? What if the answers you're looking for never arrive? What if the closure you crave isn't something another person can give you? Then what? Will you put your life on hold forever? The truth is, your feelings may never fully align with what you know is best for you. Your heart may still ache for what you had, your mind may still wander back to what was, and your soul may still feel the weight of disappointment. But none of that changes the fact that you have a choice to release, to move forward, to reclaim your joy, even when you don't feel like it. Letting go isn't just about forgetting. It's about refusing to let what happened define you any longer. It's about recognizing that pain will come, heartbreak will happen, and disappointments will knock on your door. But none of those things have the power to dictate your future unless you allow them to. Some of us have been holding on to pain for so long that it has become part of our identity. We've worn our wounds like armor, convinced that if we let them go, we'll lose a part of ourselves. But you are not your heartbreak. You are not your betrayal. You are not the disappointment you endured. You are a person worthy of joy, love, peace, and freedom. And if you wait for your feelings to catch up to that truth before you act on it, you'll miss out on the life you were meant to live. Letting go is an act of faith. It's choosing to believe that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you, even when you can't see it yet. It's trusting that God wouldn't allow something to leave your life unless there was something greater waiting for you. It's understanding that healing isn't about feeling better instantly, but about making daily choices that lead to freedom. So you don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait until the pain is gone. You don't wait until your emotions give you permission. You decide. You wake up and decide to release what's been weighing you down. You decide to stop rehearsing the past and start stepping into your future. You decide that your life is too valuable to waste another moment waiting for the perfect time to move forward. Your past has a way of speaking to you, doesn't it? Whispering reminders of what you've been through, playing scenes in your mind that you wish you could forget, making you feel like no matter how far you try to move forward, it still has a grip on you. But here's the truth. Your past cannot hold you without your permission. The only power it has is the power you continue to give it. We replay moments over and over, thinking that somehow, if we analyze them enough, we can change what happened. We hold on to pain like it's a security blanket, convinced that if we let it go, we might forget the lesson. But you don't have to carry the weight of something for it to teach you. You don't have to live in the shadows of your mistakes for them to shape you. Growth doesn't come from staying stuck in what was. It comes from choosing to move forward despite it. Too often, we allow our past to write the script for our future. We say, I can't trust because I've been hurt before, or I can't try again because last time I failed. We let our history determine what we believe about ourselves, our worth, and our ability to create something new. But the past is just a chapter, not the whole book. And no matter how painful, no matter how disappointing, it does not have the final say on who you are or where you are going. Some of us have been dragging our past into our present, expecting to build a new future while holding on to old pain. But how can you walk into something fresh when your hands are full of everything you refuse to release? How can you embrace new opportunities when you're still living in the mindset of past failures? How can you experience love when you've already decided that heartbreak is inevitable? We must realize that holding on to the past is a choice. It may feel automatic, but every time you allow it to define you, every time you replay the pain, every time you let what was dictate what is, you are making a choice. And that means you also have the power to make a different one. Your past will only control you if you keep giving it control. The moment you decide that it no longer has permission to dictate your actions, your emotions, and your decisions, you take your power back. The moment you refuse to let old wounds determine your future, you shift the narrative. The moment you choose to acknowledge the past without letting it confine you, you step into the freedom that has been waiting for you all along. You don't erase what happened, but you stop giving it access to shape what's next. You don't ignore the lessons, but you stop living like you are still in the middle of them. You stop waiting for the past to loosen its grip, and you loosen yours instead. Because at the end of the day, it's not the past that's holding on to you, it's you that's holding on to it. We spend so much time asking for new beginnings, fresh starts, and open doors, but when the opportunity finally comes, we find ourselves unable to receive it, not because it's not real, not because it's not meant for us, but because our hands are still clenched around what we refuse to release. You cannot receive what's next while still holding on to what's over. Imagine standing in front of everything you've prayed for, peace, healing, joy, purpose, yet being unable to grasp it because your hands are already full of past hurt, full of fear, full of things that no longer serve you. You keep asking for change, but deep down, you're still gripping onto the familiar, afraid that if you let go, you'll be left with nothing. But what if letting go is the very thing that makes room for what's greater? What if the blessing isn't in holding on, but in surrendering? Sometimes we think we're ready for more, but our posture says otherwise. We ask for a new relationship, yet we're still holding on to the pain from the last one. We ask for success, yet we're still doubting our own worth. We ask for joy, yet we're still rehearsing the things that made us bitter. You cannot embrace something new when your heart, your mind, and your spirit are still occupied by what's old. You cannot step fully into your future if you're still carrying the baggage of your past. Holding on feels safe. It gives us a sense of control. We convince ourselves that if we keep a grip on what happened, we can somehow protect ourselves from it happening again. But in reality, all we're doing is blocking our own growth. We're standing in the middle of our own prayers, refusing to open our hands and receive what has been waiting for us. Letting go requires trust. Trust that what's ahead is greater than what's behind. Trust that what you release will be replaced with something better. Trust that your healing is worth more than your history. And trust is hard when all you've known is disappointment. It's hard when life has shown you that loss often follows love, that betrayal often follows trust, that hope often feels like a setup for heartbreak. But the alternative is staying stuck, watching life move forward while you remain bound to what's already gone. You can't afford to keep missing what's meant for you because you're too busy holding on to what isn't. You can't keep asking for breakthrough while refusing to break free from the things that have been holding you back. You can't keep expecting new blessings when you won't loosen your grip on the past. At some point, you have to ask yourself, what are you so afraid of losing? What are you holding on to that is worth more than the future you've been praying for? What have you convinced yourself you need when in reality it's the very thing keeping you from receiving more? Until you are willing to release what is no longer meant for you, you will continue to stand outside of the very life you were created to live. There's some things you were never meant to carry. Some burdens, some battles, some heartbreaks were never supposed to rest on your shoulders. But somewhere along the way, you picked them up. You made them your responsibility. You convinced yourself that if you carried the pain long enough, maybe it would make sense. Maybe it would feel lighter. Maybe it would prove something to yourself, to them, to the world. But all it's done is weigh you down. You weren't meant to carry the guilt of things that were never your fault. You weren't meant to carry the weight of people who never chose to carry you. You weren't meant to carry the responsibility of fixing people who don't want to be fixed. Some of us have spent years holding on to burdens that don't even belong to us, and it's breaking us in ways we don't even realize. We take on the pain of people who hurt us, thinking that if we carry it, we can somehow control it. We hold on to offenses, thinking that our resentment will make the other person pay. We cling to guilt, thinking that punishing ourselves will somehow undo the past. But none of that is true. Carrying it doesn't heal it. Holding on to it doesn't fix it. Clenching it in your hands doesn't make it disappear. It just drains you, exhausts you, and steals the life you were meant to live. Some of us have been carrying a version of ourselves that we should have released a long time ago. The version of you that made mistakes, the version of you that settled, the version of you that didn't know better. You've been walking around with the weight of old decisions on your back as if you were still the person who made them. But you are not. You have grown. You have changed. You have learned. And yet you keep punishing yourself by carrying what should have been left behind. You were not created to live burdened by regret, by fear, by responsibility that was never yours to begin with. At some point, you have to ask yourself, why am I still carrying this? Why am I still carrying the hurt from a childhood that I had no control over? Why am I still carrying the pressure to prove myself to people who will never see my worth? Why am I still carrying a version of myself that I have already outgrown? Carrying what's not yours to carry will rob you of your peace. It will drain your joy. It will convince you that you are too tired to dream again, too weary to try again, too broken to believe again. And the hardest part, no one can take the weight off of you but you. No one can force you to put it down. No one can make you loosen your grip on what's been holding you back. You have to decide that your peace is more valuable than your pain. You have to decide that your future is worth more than the burden of your past. You have to decide that the weight you've been carrying is not yours to bear anymore. Forgiveness is not about them. It's not about excusing what they did. It's not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's not about letting them off the hook. Forgiveness is about you, your peace, your freedom, your ability to move forward without the weight of what they did still resting on your soul. Because as long as you hold on to the offense, the betrayal, the disappointment, you are giving them power over you, power they do not deserve. Some of us have been holding on to anger for so long that we don't even know who we are without it. We've allowed bitterness to take root, and now it colors the way we see the world. It shapes how we trust, how we love, how we show up in relationships. We tell ourselves we're protecting our hearts, but really we've built walls so high that we've trapped ourselves inside. And the people who hurt us, they've moved on. They're living their lives. They're not losing sleep over what they did. But you're still rehearsing the pain. You're still carrying the weight of their actions. You're still allowing their choices to dictate your future. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to let them back in. It doesn't mean you have to trust them again. It doesn't mean you have to act like nothing happened. Forgiveness means you're refusing to let what they did poison your spirit any longer. It means you're choosing to be free instead of staying bound to the pain. It means you're taking back the power they tried to steal from you. Some of us are waiting to feel ready to forgive, but what if that feeling never comes? What if you never wake up one day and suddenly feel like letting go? What if the anger, the hurt, the betrayal still feel as fresh as the day it happened? Do you stay stuck forever? Do you keep carrying the bitterness until it hardens every part of you? Or do you make the decision, not because they deserve it, but because you do? Forgiveness is not about feelings. It's a choice, a hard one, a painful one, a daily one. But it's a choice that leads to freedom. The longer you hold on to resentment, the more it drains you, the more it eats away at your joy. The more it convinces you that healing isn't possible. But the moment you decide to release it, to surrender the right to get even, to stop letting their actions have control over you, something shifts, something breaks, something inside of you that's been locked up for too long finally breathes again. There are blessings waiting for you, but you can't receive them with clenched fists. There are new relationships meant for you, but you can't embrace them if you're still gripping onto the wounds of the past. There is peace, real peace, but you won't find it in revenge. You won't find it in resentment. You won't find it in holding on to what hurt you. The peace you're looking for is on the other side of release. The freedom you need is waiting for you to decide that you're done carrying this weight. Fear has a way of making you believe that staying the same is safer than growing. It whispers lies that convince you that moving forward is too risky, that stepping into something new might only lead to more pain, that if you let go of what's familiar, you might end up empty-handed. But fear is not a prophet. It cannot predict your future. It can only keep you locked in a cycle of hesitation, replaying worst-case scenarios that may never even happen. Some of us have allowed fear to become our master, dictating our decisions, shaping our thoughts, and keeping us tied to situations we should have walked away from a long time ago. We say we want to be free, but when freedom requires us to release what's comfortable, we hesitate. We say we want healing, but when healing asks us to confront the wounds we've buried, we shrink back. We say we want to move forward, but when moving forward means stepping into the unknown, we find reasons to stay put. Fear will always give you an excuse. It will tell you that now isn't the right time, that you need to be more prepared, that you should wait until you feel stronger, that maybe you're not capable, not worthy, not ready. But how long will you let fear hold you hostage? How long will you allow it to rob you of experiences you were meant to have? How long will you let it convince you that staying small is the only option? Fear is a liar, but it is also convincing. It knows how to use your past against you, reminding you of the times things didn't go as planned, the times you took a risk and ended up hurt, the times you tried and failed. But just because something hurt you before doesn't mean healing isn't possible. Just because you face disappointment doesn't mean hope is foolish. Just because you failed once doesn't mean you weren't meant to succeed. At some point, you have to decide that fear will no longer have the final say. You have to move even when you're afraid. You have to take the step even when you're uncertain. You have to believe that what's ahead is worth more than the comfort of what's familiar. Fear will tell you to stay, but growth requires you to go. Fear will tell you to hold on, but peace is found in letting go. Fear will tell you that you're not ready, but faith asks you to move anyway. And faith, real faith, is what will carry you into the life that fear has been trying to keep from you. You weren't created to live bound by hesitation, second-guessing every step, letting anxiety write the script for your life. You were meant to walk in confidence, in purpose, in boldness. You were meant to break cycles, to overcome, to step into new territory unafraid. And the moment you stop listening to fear, the moment you stop waiting to feel ready, the moment you choose to trust the process even when it's uncertain, that's the moment everything changes. There comes a moment when you realize that the past is no longer where you belong. A moment when you recognize that you have outgrown the version of yourself that kept settling for less, kept replaying the same cycles, kept waiting for permission to live. That moment is not always loud. Sometimes it comes in the quiet, in the stillness, in the realization that you cannot keep living in yesterday while expecting tomorrow to look different. We often stay stuck because we're waiting for something outside of us to change first. We tell ourselves that when the pain eases, when the opportunity comes, when the right people show up, then we will move forward. But growth doesn't work like that. Growth is not a passive thing that just happens while you sit and wait. Growth is a choice. It's a decision to stop clinging to what's familiar just because it's comfortable. It's the courage to walk away from situations that no longer serve you, even when you don't know what's next. It's the willingness to believe that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you, even when you can't see it yet. Some of us are waiting for a sign when the truth is we already know what we need to do. We already know that relationship is draining us. We already know that environment is keeping us small. We already know that the way we've been thinking, the way we've been doubting ourselves, the way we've been holding back, it's not serving us anymore, but we hesitate, we question, we second guess, because even though we know we need to move forward, we are afraid of what comes next. Fear will convince you that you need to have it all figured out before you take a step. But faith says, move anyway. Faith says you don't have to see the whole picture to trust that there is something better on the other side. Faith says you can let go, not because you have all the answers, but because you know you were not created to stay stuck. Holding on to the past won't bring you peace. It won't undo what happened. It won't change the things that hurt you, the people who left, or the opportunities that were lost. But what it will do is keep you trapped in a place that no longer has room for your growth. It will keep you looking back when you were meant to move forward. It will keep you living in memories when life is waiting for you to show up in the present. At some point, you have to ask yourself, how much longer will I keep waiting? How much longer will I keep circling the same thoughts, the same regrets, the same fears? How much longer will I keep hoping for a different outcome while refusing to take a different step? Because the longer you wait, the longer you delay the life you were meant to live. And life is happening right now, not in the past, not in the future, but right now. There is a version of you that is waiting on the other side of your willingness to let go. A version of you that is lighter, freer, more at peace. A version of you that no longer carries the weight of what didn't work out, who no longer clings to the pain of things you cannot change, who no longer wakes up every day feeling trapped by the same emotions that have kept you bound for so long. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is not an impossible dream. It is real and it is within reach, but it requires something from you. It requires release. Some of us have been waiting for healing as if it's something that will simply arrive one day, knocking on our door, telling us that we are finally ready to move forward. But healing is not something you wait for. It's something you decide to step into. It's something you choose when you make peace with the fact that you cannot rewrite the past, but you can take ownership of your future. It's something you claim when you decide that your peace is more valuable than your pain, that your joy is worth more than your resentment, that your future deserves more than your hesitation. Letting go is not just about walking away from people, places, or situations. Sometimes the hardest thing to release is the mindset that has kept you stuck. The thoughts that tell you that you are not worthy, that you are not capable, that you are somehow too broken to create something beautiful out of your life. Those thoughts will convince you that playing small is the only way to stay safe. They will tell you that staying in the background is better than risking failure, that settling is easier than stepping into the unknown. But those are lies, and as long as you hold on to them, they will continue to shape the way you see yourself and the way you show up in the world. You cannot keep carrying old beliefs and expect to build a new life. You cannot keep clinging to past experiences and expect to create new opportunities. You cannot keep identifying with your wounds and expect to walk in healing. At some point, you have to decide that your transformation is worth more than your comfort, that your growth is worth more than your fear, that your future is worth more than your past. The truth is, you already know what needs to be released. You already know the patterns that have been keeping you in the same cycle. You already know the thoughts that have been holding you hostage. You already know the emotions that have been weighing you down. And you also know that there is no magic moment where everything just changes on its own. The change happens when you decide, when you choose to stop holding on to the things that no longer serve you, when you choose to believe that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. When you finally give yourself permission to become who you were always meant to be. There will come a moment when you realize that you have been standing in your own way. A moment when you recognize that the only thing keeping you tied to the past, the only thing stopping you from stepping into the life you deserve is you. It's not them. It's not the circumstances. It's not even the pain. It's the belief that you have to stay where you are because moving forward feels uncertain. It's the idea that letting go will leave you empty instead of setting you free. It's the fear that if you truly release what's been holding you back, you might not know who you are without it. We hold on because it feels safer than the unknown. We hold on because we've convinced ourselves that if we let go, we lose a part of ourselves. But what if you're not losing anything at all? What if by letting go, you're actually finding yourself? What if by releasing what no longer serves you, you're finally making room for what was meant for you? But if the very thing you're afraid to lose is the thing that's been keeping you from stepping into the fullness of your life? Some of us have been praying for change, but refusing to release what's keeping us bound. We've been asking for peace, but holding on to things that disturb our spirit. We've been searching for purpose while staying in places that drain us. We've been waiting for something to shift without realizing that the shift begins with us. Nothing new can come into your life if your hands are still full of the old. You cannot receive the blessings that are meant for you if you're still holding onto the weight of what broke you. Letting go is not just about walking away from people, from places, from situations that no longer align with you. Letting go is a mindset shift. It is an internal decision before it is ever an external action. It is about choosing to no longer allow your past to dictate your future. It is about refusing to carry pain that was never meant to be a permanent part of you. It is about deciding that your peace is worth more than your anger. Your joy is worth more than your bitterness. Your healing is worth more than your hesitation. The process won't always be easy. There will be moments when the past tries to pull you back, when old wounds try to convince you that you haven't really healed, when fear whispers that you are not strong enough to move forward, but you are strong enough. You are capable. You are ready. And the only thing standing between you and the life that is waiting for you is the willingness to let go, not because it's easy, not because you won't miss what you walked away from, but because you finally understand that you deserve more. There comes a time when you have to stop waiting for the perfect moment to let go. A time when you realize that the weight you've been carrying is not proof of your strength, but a barrier to your freedom. You cannot keep holding on to what hurts you and expect to step into healing. You cannot keep replaying the past and expect to build a future. You cannot keep living in fear and expect to walk in purpose. Letting go is not about forgetting what happened. Pretending it didn't shape you, or acting like the pain wasn't real. Letting go is about deciding that your past will not have the final say over your life. It's about understanding that you are not your mistakes. You are not your heartbreak. You are not the disappointment or the betrayal. You are a person becoming, a person growing, a person rising from what was meant to break you. You were never meant to stay stuck in yesterday. You were meant to live, to thrive, to experience joy, to walk boldly in the life that is waiting for you. But that life cannot begin until you decide to release what's been keeping you bound. You don't have to wait for permission. You'll have to wait until you feel ready. The moment you decide, the moment you step forward, the moment you make peace with the past and embrace the unknown, that is the moment everything shifts. So today, choose yourself. Choose healing. Choose peace. Choose freedom. Choose to let go. Not because it's easy, not because it won't hurt, but because you deserve to live.